In life, there are moments when a person must walk through trials that seem impossible to overcome. I, too, Cam, was once in such a place. A single mother, carrying my little daughter, Shoai, through the storms of life, hoping only to find a place we could truly call home. Before we had the peaceful shelter we now live in, my daughter and I endured countless days of uncertainty. On stormy nights, when thunder rolled through the mountains, we huddled together in a fragile shack. The wind howled through the cracks of the wooden walls, and the rain soaked the corner of the mat where my child slept. I held her tightly, listening to the roar of the wind, my heart filled with an endless fear. What will tomorrow bring? Will my daughter ever have a real childhood? A school, friends, laughter like other children? That was the beginning of the story I want to share. A story of hardship and tears, but above all, a story of kindness and humanity that warmed my life when I needed it most. At that time, Shuai and I were living in a small shack on the land of a kind man named An Chuyen. He never hesitated to help us whenever we struggled. On rainy nights, when our roof leaked, he would bring us a large plastic sheet to cover the holes. Whenever I thanked him, he only smiled gently and said, "It's nice having you two around. It feels less lonely here." But deep down I knew, every kindness has its limits. I could see in his wife's eyes a trace of unease. The small glances she gave me whenever I passed by. I didn't blame her. If I were her, I might have felt the same. After all, the shack stood on their family's land, and I was only a temporary wanderer in this life. At night, when the wind shook the bamboo walls and the oil lamp flickered weakly, I lay awake for hours, haunted by the fear of not knowing where we would go next. If life stayed this way forever, my daughter would grow up among pitying looks and quiet judgment. That thought hurt more than any hunger or cold could. Then one day, inside the simple wooden house in the village, Mr. Chuyen poured hot tea into small cups, the fragrance blending with the sound of light rain outside. Sitting across from him was Mr. Nam, his sun-browned face calm but heavy with thought. They sat in silence for a moment before Nam spoke softly. "Chuyen, I've been thinking about Tu Cam and her little girl. They're still in that old shack, with the wind blowing through and the rain dripping in. The child needs a real home." Chuyen nodded slowly. "I know. I've helped them as much as I can. But living on borrowed land can't last forever. If only they had a place of their own." Nam was quiet for a while, then spoke with quiet determination. "I've made up my mind. I'll buy a small piece of land near the hillside. It's close to the road, and there are already fruit trees growing there. They can live there, and I'll help them build a house. At least then she can work in peace." Chuyen looked at him, surprised, then smiled warmly. "If you're doing this, I'll lend a hand. Let's help them together." That afternoon, the two men rode their old motorbikes through winding mountain roads until they reached a small open field on a green slope. The landowner greeted them with a gentle smile. Nam carefully examined the red land certificate, his eyes lingering on it for a long time, as if he could already see a peaceful future for a mother and her child in this quiet corner of the mountains. And then, while I was still lost in uncertainty, Nam came to see me with his familiar, gentle face. "I've found a good piece of land for you and your daughter," he said softly. "Let's build it together." I stood frozen. Only one question echoed in my head. How? How could you afford this? I knew Nam lived simply, without much to spare. Yet he had spent a large sum just to help us. "Did you really buy land for me?" I asked in disbelief. "How could I ever repay you for this?" Nam smiled, his voice kind and calm. "If I gave you money, you wouldn't accept it. So I used it to buy land instead. Now you and your daughter will have a home. That's all I need to be happy." Tears welled in my eyes. Gratitude and guilt tangled in my heart. I whispered, my voice trembling, "Since the day we met, I've done nothing but trouble you. I don't know how I'll ever repay such kindness." He looked at me gently and said, I don't need anything back, Toucan. Just promise me you'll live well, raise your daughter, and build a peaceful life. Then he handed me the land papers. It was beautiful. A wide, open space, high and airy. There were already grapefruit and orange trees in the yard, and the land lay close to the main road and his workplace. He smiled, saying he could easily visit when he had time. To others, it might just be a piece of land, but to me, it was stability. A home. A simple dream, finally made real by the kindness of a true friend. Soon after, we began building the house. Nam came to pick us up, and to my surprise, the few belongings I thought were lost had been kept safely by Mr. Chuen. When we arrived, he was already there, digging the ground with a hoe, sweat glistening on his brow. I joined them quickly, full of determination. I could live anywhere, as long as my child was safe. The land was ideal, high ground, open air, and even the old house frame was still sturdy. From there you could see the green orchards spreading out below. Water was close by, we could borrow it from the neighbor's well. The three of us worked together. Nam and Chuen discussed every detail. A separate sleeping space for Joai, a little corner for her to play, and a kitchen far enough away so smoke wouldn't harm the child. Chuen headed into the forest to cut bamboo and hauled it back by tractor. I watched over my daughter while carrying tray poles, handing each one to them as they built the frame. One by one, each pillar was raised, each knot tied firm. By sunset, the frame of a small house stood proudly on the empty land. Chuen looked at it and smiled. Helping you have a roof over your head. That's enough to make me happy. I bowed my head in thanks, too moved to speak. Sweat soaked through my shirt, but warmth filled my chest, because this house wasn't just made of bamboo and leaves. It was built from kindness. That night, even though the house wasn't finished, my daughter and I decided to stay. The walls were thin, the roof still open, but to me, it was already a new beginning. Nam and Chuen promised to return the next day to buy palm leaves for the roof. When that time came, this little hut would become a real home, a place where we could finally live in peace. As the night breeze swept across the open field, I lay holding my daughter, a strange calm washing over me. After so many nights of fear and uncertainty, I could finally whisper to her, Joai. From now on, we begin again. I knew the road ahead would still be hard, but at last we had a place to return to. That little house, though made of bamboo and leaves, was filled with hope, with love, and with shelter. From that moment, I promised myself I would work harder, build a steady life, and give my daughter the childhood she deserves. And in my heart, a quiet faith began to bloom, a belief in a brighter tomorrow. And that was how a small act of kindness changed two lives forever. From a fragile shelter to a true home, we found warmth not just in the walls around us, but in the hearts of those who cared. If you believe that kindness still exists in this world, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the next chapters of Toucan and little Joai's journey. Because sometimes, the smallest lights of compassion can brighten even the darkest corners of life.
Chúng ta vừa cùng nhau đi qua một hành trình nhỏ nhưng lại chất chứa thật nhiều cảm xúc, từ những lúc buồn, những giọt nước mắt, cho đến cả những khoảnh khắc bình yên, giản dị vô cùng quý giá. Cảm ơn bạn đã đồng hành và lắng nghe đến tận những giây phút cuối cùng. Mỗi một lượt xem, mỗi một ánh mắt dừng lại, mỗi một trái tim cùng đồng cảm đều là nguồn động lực để những câu chuyện như thế này được tiếp tục viết nên. Nếu cuộc sống có bộn bề, đôi khi chỉ cần những giây phút ngắn lại, ta sẽ nhận ra rằng niềm tin, lòng nhân ái và sự sẻ chia luôn có sức mạnh chữa lành kỳ diệu. Và cũng chính nhờ có bạn, người không ngại dành thời gian quý giá để đồng hành và hành trình của nhân vật trong câu chuyện chuyện này trở nên trọn vẹn hơn, ấm áp hơn. Dù phía trước vẫn còn nhiều chông gai, nhưng chỉ cần trái tim con người biết hướng về nhau thì bóng tối nào cũng sẽ được soi sáng bởi một tia hy vọng. Xin gửi đến bạn lời cảm ơn chân thành nhất. Hẹn gặp lại các bạn trong các tập tiếp theo, nơi câu chuyện còn tiếp tục mở ra và những bước chân kiên cường luôn mở ước lặng lẽ và niềm tin chưa bao giờ tắt. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Chúc các bạn luôn bình an.